Welcome to this explainer on the 2026 Buyer's Guide to Data Management and Governance Tools. Look, if you've been paying attention to the data space lately, you already know the rules of the game haven't just changed, they've been entirely rewritten for 2026. We're finally moving away from treating data governance as this static, bureaucratic chore, and we're shifting toward a reality where governance actually powers artificial intelligence and modern analytics. Let's talk stakes, because they are literally sky high right now. Gartner predicts a staggering 80% of data and analytics governance initiatives will fail by 2027 simply because they lack a connection to real business outcomes. Think about that for a second. 80%. That's 8 out of 10 initiatives failing just because they become disconnected exercises in documentation, rather than tools that actually help your teams find, trust, and use data. We're here today to make sure you land in that successful 20%. So, to make sure you land in that successful 20%, here's our agenda. We're going to cover 1. The 2026 data governance shift. 2. Collibra. 3. Alation. 4. Informatica IDMC. 5. Atlan. And finally, 6. Making your 2026 choice. Let's jump right into Section 1, the 2026 data governance shift. We all know legacy governance was basically built for compliance checkboxes, right? It was all about manually documenting the past. But the 2026 mandate requires an AI-ready context layer driven by active metadata. Because, let's face it, no analyst ever woke up excited to manually tag datasets. Instead, an active metadata engine acts as a living infrastructure. It continuously parses real query activity, pipeline executions, and transformations. And it orchestrates this context in real time, not just for your data engineering teams, but piping it directly into the workflows of AI agents. If your metadata isn't active, your AI simply won't have the context it needs to actually be trustworthy. Moving on to Section 2, Collibra, our compliance heavyweight. When you look at Collibra, it provides incredibly deep stewardship workflows. If your organization needs highly configurable approval chains, complex task assignments, and escalation rules, this is your engine, hands down. They also come armed with pre-built compliance reporting from massive frameworks like GDPR, SOX, and the banking regulation BCBS 239, right out of the box. Plus, they've recently pushed heavily into AI governance, offering tooling specifically designed for the EU AI Act and ISO 42001 compliance. This platform is literally built for a chief data officer who needs to guarantee audit-ready data. But, that level of control brings a very specific philosophy with it. Collibra structures governance rigidly from the top down for compliance. Our next tool takes the exact opposite approach by focusing on organic, bottom-up adoption. This is a vital distinction you have to understand when you evaluate these platforms. You have to ask yourself, are you trying to enforce strict policies from the top, or are you trying to crowdsource knowledge from the analysts on the ground? Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, Alation, the analytics champion. Think of Alation's behavioral analysis engine sort of like a recommendation algorithm for your data. Much like Netflix recommending a show based on what you actually watch, rather than waiting for a steward to manually certify a dataset, Alation tracks what your analysts actually query and use in real life. It uses that organic behavior to surface trusted assets. They pair this with a famously intuitive natural language search interface for SQL and BI teams. They've also leaned hard into the AI era with their Ali AI Copilot for automated creation and a brand new Agent Studio that allows you to build custom AI agents that actually understand your organization's specific data definitions. It is incredibly powerful for driving bottom-up user adoption. Next up is Section 4, Informatica IDMC, the multi-cloud suite. To distill Informatica IDMC's massive footprint, we really have to focus on its absolute superpower, scale and connectivity. We're talking about an incredible 600-plus native enterprise connectors. If your organization has data completely siloed across legacy mainframes, modern cloud data warehouses, and hundreds of random SaaS applications, Informatica can connect to almost all of it. They leverage their Claire AI engine to automate metadata enrichment and infer lineage across all these disparate systems. And crucially, it's not just a catalog. It's a massive, unified suite covering master data management, data integration, and data quality, all under one umbrella. It's a serious heavy lifter for complex enterprise architecture. And that leads us to Section 5, Atlan, the AI context layer. Atlan targets the modern data stack by relying on an active metadata engine that parses query activity directly to update lineage and context automatically, zero manual curation. It provides out-of-the-box column-level lineage across tools like Snowflake, dbt, and your BI dashboards. So if a pipeline breaks, you know exactly which downstream metric is affected instantly. But what's truly a game changer here is their MCP, or Model Context Protocols server. This open standard allows Atlan to pipe your governed enterprise context directly into AI workflows. So when your team uses ChatGPT or Claude, those AI agents actually understand your proprietary business metrics, your ontology, and your governance policies at runtime. Now, tool capabilities are great and all, but time to value? That's where the rubber really meets the road. We found a pretty stark reality in the source data regarding deployment timelines. Deploying Atlan often takes just 4 to 6 weeks. Alation typically follows closely at 6 to 12 weeks. Meanwhile, the heavy, highly structured infrastructure of Calibra and Informatica IDMC often requires 3 to 9 months, or honestly sometimes more, to reach full production. You absolutely have to balance the depth of the suite against how quickly your business needs to see a return on its investment. All right, Section 6, making your 2026 choice. So how do we actually choose? This decision matrix impartially aligns each tool to its ideal avatar. It really just comes down to your primary business driver. If you're a heavily regulated bank or pharma company where audit trails are your top priority, Calibra is your structured heavyweight. If your success relies entirely on getting SQL analysts and business users to organically adopt a catalog, Alation is your analytics champion. If you're a massive global enterprise trying to govern hundreds of different hybrid and legacy systems while managing master data, Informatica IDMC has the broad integration you need. And if you're running a modern data stock on something like Snowflake or Databricks and you need a fast-deploying active context layer to power your upcoming AI initiatives, Atlan is going to be your best fit. As you finalize your evaluations and build out your data strategy for 2026 and beyond, I want to leave you with one absolutely critical question to ensure your chosen platform actually empowers your business instead of just checking a compliance box. Ask yourself, is your metadata ready to govern the AI era, or is it just documenting the past? Because in 2026, a static list of tables simply isn't enough anymore. You need a living layer of context. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.